sat on the shores of California, staring off into the wild blue yonder that is the marvelous ocean. My parents had long gone inside, and I sat observing the sky's bleeding orange light being swallowed by the ocean. In solitude I sat watching pure majesty as the water ran towards me in great deluges, and receded back ever so elegantly. I thought of how a minuscule figure I was to the splendor of the ocean, how it could swash me in its great depths, and not give it a second thought. After observing the ocean's magnitude, I thought of myself, how our lives are compared to the paramount significance of the masses, how little our actions really affected the world, how it seems our plights are really of minuscule importance. But upon that thought, I suddenly doubted myself. I contemplated that our plights, our own plights, are of supreme importance, for it is humanity's condition to care solely for oneself and its own plight. Humanity is supposed to be selfish like this. Soon after that, I thought that maybe selfishness is not a predicament, like most may believe, but a misjudged quality we must learn to understand. I believe we should accept selfishness as a virtue and a moral truth. First, as humans, we deep down only care exclusively for ourselves, whether we believe it or not. We may consider ourselves unselfish, but it isn't so. We have a desire to best one another in any way we can at one thing or another, whether it is a sport or something academic. To illustrate our selfishness in an action generally considered normal human kindness, a person may not steal from a department store. This may be considered a well-mannered person, for this action is not considered wrong, but the reason a person doesn't steal is not because it will harm the owner. It is because a conscience will tear that person up inside if he does steal. Or it may be fear of being caught. We do not worry about who we stole from, yet we indeed worry about the pain our conscience can cause ourselves. Not stealing is a selfish act along with any other act. On another note, our selfish nature causes us to strive to outdo others. Our selfishness forces us to compete. Competition is selfish, and there's no way around that fact. An example being sports and any other competition of humans trying to best one another. We are egotistically trying to pull ahead of others and trying to be the best and continually bettering ourselves. Now I sat there on the beach and really managed to disorient myself with humanity's existence. I was quite distraught, but I started to think further about selfishness, and I came up with the following. There are indefinite, positive aspects to humanity's primordial instinct of selfishness. This selfishness is, in itself, a quality. Without it, we would be complacent. We would have never tried to conceive any of the things we've managed to create. Technological improvements would have been impossible without selfish desires. Likewise, there would have been minimal advances, if any, without our yearning to best one another, for we would have never had the nerve for the Industrial Revolution, and we would have had no inventions. Indisputably, without selfishness, we would have been in a smug, complacent future. Computers and many other devices would have never been created, for no one would strive to create such amazing devices without the selfish desire to do the amazing and make money. We would discover no desire to progress further technologically. A prime example of this is the selfishness that is Microsoft and Apple. Both desperately wanted to be better than one another, and both desired fame and money. Without those selfish desires, neither of these companies would have been conceived. Selfishness is the engine that drives us forward, making selfishness a virtue beyond all others, for selfishness is the virtue of unending improvement. Selfishness is indubitably a moral virtue, and it is the only moral virtue, for the main moral value of selfishness is life, your own life. Life is obligated before any other moral value can be completed. Without your own life, you can't do anything else moral. Your own life is axiomatically the first and foremost aspect of the virtue of selfishness. As shown above, I believe in accepting selfishness as a virtue and in openly admitting ourselves as selfish with pride. Humans' morality is not to force them to suffer or cause them harm, as others suggest, but a morality is to teach a man that it is excellent to live for oneself. There is no other way to live, and if one cannot live for themselves, they are, for the moment, lost. Selfishness is all and everything, and we must accept and live that way. And those are my closing thoughts. But now as the sun was being devoured whole by the ocean's massive splendor, its light consumed an angelic, cliché beauty, I thought to myself, this I believe.